Cayman Islands, Radio Cayman.
Shining down from above.
We love our listeners.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. Rotary Central, for more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. Fidelity Bank, for all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you. And Roper's Janitorial, complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential. They get the job done right every time.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the Record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. Today is Friday, the 28th day of June 2018. First of all, I'd like to alert our listeners to the fact that frequency 89.9 FM is not operational at this point in time. We're experiencing some difficulties, working on getting that all resolved, and hopefully it will be up and running soon. But you can still follow us on Radio Cayman. If you download the Radio Cayman app from the App Store, you can follow us there. We're still streaming as well, and so for those of you who are unable to reach us on or to follow us on 89.9, we urge you to download the app if you don't already have it, or you can follow us on YouTube as well. It is also my understanding that the sister islands are not affected by this, so they're obviously getting 89.9. I believe we may have some transmitter problems there, and of course over in the brackets 93.9 rather than 89.9, but that 93.9 is not affected as well. So hopefully we'll get everything going smoothly again. But meantime, we're still on the air. For the Record is on the air as well. So I want to thank you, our listening and viewing audience, for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands into your places of work, whether it be an office cubicle or if you're working in the outdoors. For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I'm your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. Phone lines are always open. There is always someone there waiting to take your calls. This morning she's very busy, but she's still there, that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number is 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at For the Record. That is one word, For the Record, at CANDW.KY. WhatsApp us on 925-3261, where we encourage you to send us a text message or leave us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. Today being Friday, it is my pleasure to have in the studio with me two members of the opposition in our Legislative Assembly, MLA Mr. Christopher Saunders, and Emily, Mr. Kenneth Bryan. Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. I know we got a little late start, but better late than never.
Good morning, OC, and good morning to your listening audience, particularly those who are streaming live and those in Cayman Brac. Unfortunately, we have a little difficulties for Grand Cayman itself, but hopefully those things will be addressed early. I just want to say it's a pleasure to be back on here and hope we can talk about some important topics. I want to say a happy welcome back to Mr. Quincy Brown while I have this opportunity before we get into the serious stuff. He's back home right now, so look forward to his impact on the country as usual that he has. Good morning again to everybody, and I hope to have a productive and constructive conversation with some solutions this morning.
Excellent. Morning, Mr. Saunders.
Good morning, OC, and just want to say good morning to everyone that's listening. I know it's a bit of a challenge this morning, so at least, we get a chance to, I guess, get some things off our chests. There are a couple of things I just want to touch on before we get into the meat of the show this morning.
Sure.
First, I want to send condolences to the Miller family on the loss of the patriarch. Regardless of whatever people may think, I think that family has made their contribution and have left their fingerprints on the development of our islands. And I think, we owe them a lot of thanks, and we just want to really send our condolences to them at this time during this time of grief. Yes. Also, last week I'd gotten a call that a friend of mine that lives in Jamaica had been hospitalized. And for some strange reason, a feeling came over me. I just felt as if though that would have been it. And all weekend it was actually just something that was kind of secretly weighing on me. Mm-hmm. And then Monday morning, I got a call from a familiar friend of both of us. And, the phone ringing and you just look at the number at that time of the morning and you just know it's bad news that was coming. And he had passed. He had battled diabetes for years. And he used to travel via Cayman to go to Cuba for some treatment. And I say all of this to say, I guess a few times, I've been so busy and everything else, I didn't get a chance to check up on him as is. I know you sit back and you look at all the different missed opportunities. You're flying to Jamaica for a day or two. Sometimes I've taken a little hour out of your detour to just go look for him or something. And even passing through the other day. And, I couple years back when I was doing a medical, I was pre-diabetic myself. And I kind of felt that, you feel like something is wrong in your body. And I decided, I need to go and change my lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And I've since lost 30 pounds between, proper diet and a little bit of exercise and so forth. And I just want to remind people sometimes two things. One, when people are close to you, just take that time out of your busy lives to remind them of that. And then secondly, don't take your health for granted. This morning we were here, we woke up in our own beds. There are people that woke up this morning in the hospitals and elsewhere battling, different ailments and everything else. And so little things that we take for granted. And one of the things I wanted to also touch on, OC, is this time of year, as kids are graduating now, kids coming back from school and everything else, is to remind them and also to remind their parents that sometimes your grades don't really reflect, who you are, your ability and everything else. I still remember my first year at university where my GPA was less than 2.0. I was literally the average student, and it didn't reflect my abilities. What it reflected more than anything was my inability to properly apply myself. And I was one of those kids who breezed through high school, got good grades, didn't really have to study. And I thought I could have taken the same approach into college, and that was not the case. And I said, you know what, tell her that I just dropped out. I didn't want to do that anyway. You find different excuses. But the fact I was a little bit too embarrassed to ask for help or, to just like to deal with it. I didn't want anyone to think that, I was stupid because grades were that low and everything else. And I say that to say to kids, that some people respond differently to exam conditions and everything else. But you're young. You still have your life ahead of you, and you will have setbacks. and so forth, but it does not define you. Because when I did go back to school 3 years later, I went back a bit more motivated, and that was where I really learned to apply myself. And what really drove me was spending those 3 years out of college and working and realizing the value of having that piece of paper within the workplace and the disrespect that sometimes comes from not having it. It kind of really shook me up a little bit. That and the fact that when I went back to school, being a 22-year-old sophomore, and the 19-year-old and the 18-year-old was referring to me as elder. I'm like, what, I need to get out of here. But, it's just one of the things to remind the parents, don't force something on kids. Everyone come in their own time. And they say the kids don't beat up on yourself. I know there's a lot of different pressures and everything that's on right now, but I can tell you, what I started with as my GPA wasn't what I ended with. And I think since then, I think I've done okay. But I just want to remind people of that. Life is for living, and sometimes you just got to take a little time out to just enjoy life. It's about the journey, not the destination.
So true. We're going to take a time out now as well for a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, sponsored by Cayman National Bank. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs. The Cayman Islands, he hath founded it upon the seas.
The art of turtling was time-consuming, involving many men, lots of nets, and much coordination. After laying their nets at night, hauling their catch in the morning, the turtles were transferred to the main schooners. Aboard the schooners, the turtles were placed upside down, as if left right side up. Their lungs would collapse from the pressure of their top shell. Wedges were used to stop the turtles from sliding around the deck, and wooden pillows placed beneath their heads. A mangrove sapling kraal was fashioned in a central quay, was used to keep the turtles confined, and they were fed turtle grass and other greens. Once a sufficient number had been caught, usually around 200, they were rounded up, fastened together, and loaded on the schooner for passage back to Grand Cayman, where the catch was crawled again until they could be bartered or sold. Proceeds of the season were split into two parts, with half going to the owner of the turtling schooner and half to the crew. The captain received 1 3/4 share, each mate 1 1/4, and the men 1 share apiece.
Information from this historical vignette was sourced from the Maritime Heritage of the Cayman Islands by Roger C. Smith.
Radio Cayman's historical facts vignettes are proudly brought to you by Cayman National, with branches on all 3 Cayman Islands. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs.
When you need stability, think Business of the Year.
Considering a new career opportunity, think Best Place to Work.
When dependability matters, think Outstanding Workforce.
In need of a reliable financial partner, think Bank of the Year.
When you seek excellence, think Cayman National.
No matter how many accomplishments we achieve, we always set the bar higher. That's why we are the most awarded bank in Cayman, and we are proud to be your
2018 Bank of the Year.
Did you know the third most important factor for customer retention is cleanliness? With 95% of shoppers saying exterior appearance influences where they decide to shop. Keep your business clean with Roper's Janitorial. From offices to restaurants, interior and exterior, walls to rugs and flooring, Roper's cleans it all, including 24-hour emergency service. Roper's Janitorial, 949-2511. Email janitorial@ropers.ky. Dress your business for success with Roper's Janitorial. We make your business shine. 949-2511.
I remember playing at 7 Mile Beach as a boy, eating mango by the sea, learning how to snorkel. My mother, she worked so hard to provide for our family so that we could have those moments. Seeing her age has been tough. That strong, capable woman, now in need of daily support, it's my time to be strong for her.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy understands the importance of the careful decisions you make every day for your family. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care, so you can feel confident in knowing that your family is safe with the right medication. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we take care of your health.
Wow, it seems I buy a battery every year.
Oh, for real? You should buy your car battery from Vantman. Their batteries are tough. I have a 3-year warranty on mine.
Oh, I know that trick. I take it back and they charge me a percentage of the price.
Hear me out, bro. Not at Vamp Bobo. You can get a 3-year full warranty, no charge. And if they install it at Vamp, it includes free towing and jumping service. And let me tell you, you will never have to get your hands dirty changing no battery.
Get Motorcraft Max or Plus battery for 20% off when it's installed by the service department at Vamp Motors on Walker's Road. Now that's a deal you can get charged up about. Vamp Motors, keeping you on the road.
Extended through June.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Sometimes having a middleman is not a bad thing, especially when it comes to insurance. Do you know that when it comes to cost, ease, speed, and peace of mind, insurance brokers ranked higher than when customers buy direct? So, for all your insurance needs, call Fidelity Insurance. We're the middleman you want. Call us today at 949-7822. Fidelity. We're good for you.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. I just want to remind our listening and viewing audience that currently we are not broadcasting on 89.9 FM. You can follow us by downloading the Radio Cayman app from the App Store. You can also follow us on YouTube. We're streaming as well. This does not affect the sister islands, 93.9 in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman as well. So they're receiving us. Unfortunately, here in Grand Cayman on 89.9, we have some technical difficulties that we are sorting out. In the studio with me this morning, MLA's Mr. Kenneth Bryan and Mr. Christopher Saunders, and I'm going to throw the mic back over to them.
Thanks again, OC, and if I can throw this little plug in there, maybe it's God's way of saying sometimes Kim and Brack need to have something special for them too. So a big shout out to Kim and Brack. But before we go on, I want to give apologies on behalf of the Leader of Opposition, who, as you know, with his new role, is needed and wanted at a lot of places. So he's unfortunately not here this morning because he had to attend an important meeting. And also the deputy is off on a business meeting, and so he's off island. So I apologize on their behalf. Before we get into the meat of the topics this morning, I also want to congratulate Mr. Patrick Rankin. I know you know him from DEH. He's been awarded from the ministry a special award for being a key role person in helping and picking up all these derelict vehicles around the island.
Good.
So he's been a special employee for the month of June. And I think it's well deserving. He works extra hard. He was instrumental in helping clearing out the Central Park. So I want a big shout out to him, Mr. Patrick Rankin.
Yes. Congrats.
Keep up the good work. But I'll allow my colleague to mention the topics that we're going to go into after the break.
Yeah, no, well, first of all, we wanted to just give the public an update with our meeting that we had yesterday with Lord Ahmad. Mm-hmm. All the members of the official opposition, except for Alva, who was off island, was there. I was very happy to see Mr. Tony Eden out, still in his recovery stage, but I can tell you he was there yesterday and he represented the people of not just Savannah, but the people of the Cayman Islands in terms of very well, in terms of making a very strong point with regards to what our principles and our Christian heritage is about.
Okay.
So I was really glad to see him out yesterday. I was very happy with that. One of the things that we also want to speak about is our upcoming motions that we were looking for, because first and foremost, I think sometimes the public forget that they have elected legislators, and our primary job is still legislation and policies and everything else. I mean, we enjoy the other stuff that we do in terms of interacting with the public, but we still have their jobs to do. So we have some upcoming motions that we'll be filing, some issues that we'll be dealing with, or more importantly, solutions that we think that can actually improve the quality of people's lives. So those are the kind of stuff we want to touch. Not want to touch on the airport. As I said to one government member yesterday, I know you guys wanted to build a dock, but I didn't know it was going to be built at the airport. So did you guys get funding for that? No, I think that in itself is an embarrassment, though. It is an embarrassment. And in this day and age with TripAdvisor and everything else and the videos and the photos that I saw, I mean, this was less than third world. And it's a little bit unfortunate that we have a system of accountability that will result in no one getting fired. Or if they do, someone basically sent home with a lot of money. It's really sad, but this is the kind of stuff that either contractors get fired for, contractors get sued for, or in some cases employees get fired for. And there's a certain culture that we need to start getting into this country where when you're spending the public money, there has to be some fear that when things go wrong that shouldn't go wrong. I mean, mistakes will happen, don't get me wrong. But for what I understand, what caused that embarrassment, it's really borderlines incompetence. You know what I mean? And I really wish people get account, because those are the kind of black eye you can't recover from.
Have we been able to confirm the fact whether or not the cistern is actually under the airport? Because there is a cistern that is located across the parking lots and near to the long-term parking area. There's a cistern there. I am not aware of a cistern being under the terminal itself.
Well, I've been investigating this matter now for the last couple of days in respect to the airport, and I have been unable to confirm that. I think my conclusions are based on some of the people, and this is not factual, so I stand to be corrected, is that you can imagine the airport was expanded and it got bigger. So I think the cistern was on the outside first, and as a result of the expansion, it caused the cistern to be underneath. Hence the reason why you see in the press release, it says the flooding was confined to a certain area, which is the departure lounge, which was the expanded part of the airport. So I suspect, and I could be wrong, that the cistern was outside first, and then as a result of the expansion caused the cistern to be underneath the airport. Mm-hmm. But I think that we may all agree that that concept is not good, because the water, if it ever overflows for whatever reason, pump failure, electricity goes out, hurricane, natural disasters, if the water continues to come, there's only one way for it to go, is up in the airport. But like my colleagues say, it's embarrassing. I think the government should be responsible enough to add some more contents to the press release that they released, because I don't think it says enough. There's too much that had transpired that release has not addressed. What's the cost of the damage? Is somebody going to be held accountable for it? It just says the area where it was, and they're trying to find a solution. We want to know what the solution is and what caused the problem in the first place, outside of just the cistern overflowing. So I look forward to hearing that from the government.
Excellent. This is time for us to take that break. Top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back after the 8 o'clock news.
Price Right is Grand Cayman's warehouse shopping superstore, making your dollar go further with huge savings and no membership fees. Get more of the things you use every day at the right price. But it's not just grocery and health and beauty. Price Right has a full range of products, from office to automotive, patio furnishings to kitchen appliances, and even electronics. And since warehouse prices mean savings for you, everything is priced right at Price Right, Grand Cayman's warehouse shopping superstore.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
Access information. Your community. News and information. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, I'm Shanda Gallego with your latest news. The celebration of the Cayman Islands' first constitution promises a whole weekend of activity. Celebrate Cayman's Marzita Bodden says it provides an opportunity to celebrate the milestone with a focus on both the past and the present.
Saturday, the 29th of June, that morning, the Honourable Premier is hosting a cultural breakfast that will be attended by heads of government from British Overseas Territories, representatives from Jamaica, from the United Kingdom, representatives of the family of the 1959 Legislative Assembly of Justices and Vestry that enacted the Constitution, special guests, and more.
Ms. Bodden says not only will Cayman be celebrating our Constitution, but also our relationships with Jamaica and the United Kingdom. The event will be carried live right here on Radio Cayman 89.9 FM, starting at 7:30 in the morning until 10 a.m. To get a look at the full schedule, check out celebratecayman.ky. In other local news, the governor makes a visit to John Gray High School, and we get more on that now from Radio Cayman's Dion Anglin.
The governor visited John Gray High School to tour the new state-of-the-art gymnasium, which acts as the Georgetown Emergency Shelter, and to attend the end-of-year assembly for John Gray students on Monday. During the assembly, Mr. Roper was treated to performance by the school band and spoke to students about growth mindset. He also had the opportunity to congratulate Mrs. Jane Kelly on her retirement after 35 years of service to the school. Principal Jonathan Clark talked through the plans for the new school development and showed Mr. Roper the construction that has already begun. The new premises will also increase the Georgetown shelter capacity. Mr. Roper said he was really pleased to tie in the visit to the John Gray Emergency Shelter with attendance at the school assembly, and he was impressed by the principal's vision for the school. His Excellency was even persuaded to do an impromptu steel pan performance. Reporting for Radio Cayman News, I'm Dion Anglin.
This year, the John Gray and Clifton Hunter emergency shelters offer pet shelter facilities for the first time. People can bring their dogs and cats along in an emergency to be housed in a separate area to the main shelter. Turning to regional news, Puerto Rico Governor Ricardo Rossello has asked for the immediate resignation of Treasury Secretary Raul Maldonado just hours after the cabinet member disclosed a federal corruption investigation into his department. More from Camp Update's Wendy Chateau.
Rossello said at a Monday news conference that he'd never been informed of the serious irregularities that Maldonado made public. The governor didn't divulge details about the allegations, which he said are grave and could represent serious violations of the law. The move came after Maldonado told a local radio station that he was collaborating with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, as it looked into influence peddling, destruction of documents, and other crimes within his department.
We now turn to the BBC with a check of international news. That's it for me. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, I'm Shanda Gallego.
BBC News with Jerry Smith. There have been 2 suicide bomb attacks on security forces in the Tunisian capital, Tunis. The Interior Ministry said one person targeted a police patrol on one of the city's main streets. Reports said one officer was killed and several people were injured. The second blast took place near a police base, injuring 4. In a separate development, official sources in Tunisia say President Beji Essebsi has been taken to hospital. The presidential office said the 92-year-old had suffered what was termed as a severe health crisis. Ethiopian security forces have arrested more than 50 people from an Amhara political party following the failed attempt to seize power in the region. The opposition national movement of the Amhara denies any link to the alleged attempted coup. The German Chancellor Angela Merkel's office has brushed off concerns about her health after she was seen shaking at an official event for the second time in as many weeks. Her spokesman said she would travel to the G20 summit in Japan as planned. There's speculation that...
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, I'm Shanda Gallego with your latest news.
Access to information. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman. Stay up to date with the latest in healthy living and fitness trends every Saturday morning at 9:30 and Wednesday at 7 p.m.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Most clinics in the United States, they kind of like one surgery fits all. You're saying, that's not necessary. That's not going to be the case with me. And that's good to hear.
For the Health of It is proudly brought to you by GNC. Join the GNC community and take advantage of their discount days. The first 7 business days of every month and every Wednesday. GNC. Believe in the power of nutrition.
From happy beginnings to happy ever after.
Brit K protects your lifestyle with the best insurance cover at the best possible price.
Health insurance with far-reaching benefits.
95% of claims settled in 5 days.
Low-cost life insurance.
And investments.
Security in retirement.
With a custodian pension plan.
For happy beginnings and a happy ever after.
Visit BritK.ky or call 949-8699.
BritK, where people come first.
The Weather Report is proudly sponsored by Super Stitch Sewing and Fabric Center, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasador Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky. New stock has just arrived at Super Stitch. Now don't take my word for it. Drop by and see for yourself. Fresh off the boat, we have loads of fabric, vinyl upholstery fabric, fabric for cushions, outdoor fabrics, and dress fabric. That's not all. Super Stitch has sewing accessories and craft items. Included in the new shipment, you will find sheets, comforters, throw pillows, bath mats, rugs, and curtains for every room in your home. Super Stitch, 39 Pasador Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best price in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
Pleasure, good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Synopsis indicate an increase in cloudiness and showers expected from tomorrow morning as an upper-level low-pressure system lingers over the northwest Caribbean. Radar images show scattered showers in and around the Cayman area moving towards the west. Now, the forecast for today calling for partly cloudy to cloudy skies with a 60% chance of showers and some thunder. Showers will be locally heavy at times and temperatures will be in the lower 90s. Your winds will be east to southeast at 5 to 10 knots and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Forecast for tonight calling for partly cloudy skies with a 40% chance of showers and some thunder and temperatures falling to the upper 70s. Your winds will be east to southeast 10 to 15 knots and seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Low tide will be this afternoon at 12:43, high tide tonight at 7:35. The sun will set this evening at 6 minutes past 7 and will rise tomorrow morning at 5:51. And the outlook is calling for a decrease in cloudiness and showers from late tomorrow night as the upper-level low-pressure system weakens north of the Cayman area.
Super Stitch Sewing and Fabric Center was the proud sponsor of the Weather Report, your one-stop shop for all of your household items, craft items, jewelry, beads, and decorations, and much more. Call Super Stitch at 949-2833 or email customer care at superstitch.com.ky. New stock has just arrived at Super Stitch. Now don't take my word for it. Drop by and see for yourself. Fresh off the boat, we have loads of fabric, vinyl upholstery fabric, fabric for cushions, outdoor fabrics, and dress fabric. That's not all. Super Stitch has sewing accessories and craft items. Included in the new shipment, you will find sheets, comforters, throw pillows, bath mats, rugs, and curtains for every room in your home. Super Stitch, 39 Pasador Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best price in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look what's happening on the roads. Busy traffic coming from the east on Shamrock Road and also on the Linford Pearson Highway. Real steady traffic coming off of the Linford Pearson Highway on Agnes Way. And traffic steady but flowing coming off of Bobby Thompson Way. Light to moderate traffic flow coming from the West Bay 4-way stop. Traffic flowing moderately on Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue as well as on the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz. And moderate flow of traffic coming from the Butterfield roundabout heading towards Industrial Park area. Some sections Crew Road steady traffic. And on Huldah Avenue traffic steady but flowing as well as on on Thomas Russell Way traffic is moderate. That's the very latest on your traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 8. We'll update. At 10 minutes after 12, we'll update you traffic-wise.
You don't have to run all over town looking for good help. Call G&A Spectacular Cleaning for all of your carpet cleaning, tile and grout cleaning, maid services, pressure washing, and a whole lot more. Our clients can certainly attest to our reasonable prices and great service. Call 323-5237 or 917-5798. G&A Spectacular Cleaning. We give cleaning a whole new meaning.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you.
This week at Kirk Home Center, cut through grime in no time with an electric power washer and rolling cart for $249.99. Get a smooth finish with a drywall sander for $649.99. Cook up hearty pasta dishes in a 6 and 2-quart pasta pot set for $14.09. And give your hair some added bounce and texture with a diffuser hairdryer for $37.49.
Kirk's Home Center, we got a great deal in store for you.
And here's a public service announcement from Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman 89.9 FM is down, but you can listen on the Radio Cayman app from the Google Play Store and download the app and you can hear the broadcast there. Also, you can log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky. We're streaming live. And also subscribe to Radio Cayman live stream on YouTube and you can hear their programs.
You like having options. So, Western Union is giving you another way to send a money transfer around the world with Western Union's direct-to-bank money transfer option. Visit a Western Union agent location and you could start sending money directly to qualifying bank accounts in over 60 countries. Best of all, it's for one flat transfer fee to send any amount direct to a bank account. Visit a Western Union agent location to learn more and start sending money transfers direct to bank accounts today. Western Union.
Western Union also makes money from currency exchange. When choosing a money transmitter, compare fees and exchange rates, which may vary based on a number of factors and are subject to change.
Support our port, support our tourism.
Across the Caribbean, our competitors have built piers that give cruise ship passengers a better arrival and departure experience. How can we expect to compete if we don't meet passengers' expectations?
Looking forward, looking bright.
Learn more and spread the word.
Support our port, support our tourism.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Just want to remind our listeners and viewers that we're not broadcasting on 89.9, some technical difficulties, not affecting the sister islands. They're hearing us on 93.9 FM. You can follow us on YouTube. We're streaming as well. And if you download the Radio Cayman app, you can follow us there also. In the studio with me this morning, we have MLA's Mr. Christopher Saunders and Mr. Kenneth Bryan with us. Our phone lines are open as well, and you can call in also. I'm going to now throw the mic back over to the two gentlemen with me.
Thank you. See, one of the things we just want to give the public an update on is the meeting that we had yesterday with Lord Ahmad and the governor in attendance.
Yes.
At that meeting was the leader of the opposition, Ard McLean, Kenneth, myself, and as I said earlier, Tony Eden, which I was very happy to see him out. One of the things that we touched on, and I think is very important, was the old governance structure. And one of the things, I mean, and I don't, I guess, like to, be overly negative, but one of the things I kind of highlighted in also in previous meetings is that everywhere where the British Westminster system has been, where countries prior to independence, where Britain was prior to independence, there has been a consistent track record of corruption. Once they have left, whether it be in the Caribbean, in Africa, or elsewhere. Mm-hmm. And the one common denominator has always been the Westminster system. No, it is a system, unlike the American system, where it's a winner-takes-all mindset. So in the American system, where you have the executive separate from the legislative, whereas in the Westminster system, the executive comes from the legislative, so the government will always have the minority. So one of the things in the U.S., for example, that is the president is actually tasked with protecting the minority. In the sense, that's why the U.S. Constitution gives the president veto legislation. So even if Congress passes something, I mean, of course, he can still be overridden by the 2/3 of Congress, but he's been given the task of, wait a minute, guys, I can't agree to this. Because you can very easily get the majority kind of just pushing their way through. And one of the things within the UK itself, going back to England and so forth, is that protection of the minority doesn't really exist because Parliament is supreme in that regards, and so whatever the majority in Parliament says pretty much goes. We in Cayman are a little bit, I guess I would say, lucky to some extent in that task is actually given to the governor, whereas even if in the legislature we pass laws, the governor still has to assent to it, and the governor has the option of saying, you know what, guys, I think I'm going to pass on this one. So there is some safeguarding in the system to some extent. And this is why we're a little bit concerned in the sense of that office also being weakened when it is constitutional charged with good governance within the country. I mean, when we look at the last governor left under the conditions in which he left, and then this governor coming in as an interim appointment. I remember sitting there on his first day on the job where the speaker made it clear that, there are certain things, he shouldn't concern himself with. Was it rooster doing business and cockroach doing business and rooster fight? Mm-hmm. And then even the premier went on to basically say that, he hope this one performs well so at least he can give him some level of recommendation for his role and everything else. And I saw that at the time as directly kind of like, you better behave yourself or, we throw you out. But the flip side is what the UK needs to recognize, and I reminded Lord Ahmad of that, is that the manner in which you guys removed the last governor, you have weakened this office. And in essence, you have also, to some extent, weakened the governance structure because politicians and others have become more emboldened now. Whereas if this was a Duncan Taylor that was there, I mean, everybody, I think his reputation spoke for himself in terms of he was a very hands-on type person and everything else. And why this is really important for us is that the government's behavior in the last sitting at the LA really gave me pause. And what I saw when the government was actually, what they did to block Kenneth Bryan, my colleague here, from getting on the Public Accounts Committee, and what they attempted to do on the Public Accounts Committee really was, one of the scariest things I've ever seen in our democracy for a long time. Here's a situation where the government was contented to have me, as the opposition, chair the committee, but then pack it up with 4 other government members. Mm-hmm. Considering now that the chairperson really only have a casting vote, can you imagine what the government can be so divided on that they'll need the opposition to break the pass with? You know what I mean? And yes. When you also consider that you have, their proposal would have had 3 of the 4 members or basically councillors and then temporary ministers or acting ministers sometimes. At what point do they say to themselves, wait a minute, this decision that this issue that we're looking at was a decision that was taken by us? It really showed the government just using their majority to just push something through, as opposed to what it was the opposition was proposing, which was pretty much maintain the committee as it was prior to, in terms of, and I saw many members on the government side that night even cave to what it was that the Premier wanted. And for that reason, more than ever, we need to make sure that where the governor's office is concerned, that and tasked with good governance is an issue that we do not take lightly. Because if this was an independent country, the reality of it is whatever the government would have wanted, and you have seen it elsewhere, mm-hmm. It's a winner-take-all system. You could have a one-seat majority. You will push whatever you want through. And those countries, that is a safeguard that they are missing. And this is why we appeal to the governor again in terms of the standards in public life and even district council, because Section 8 of the Constitution does give him that responsibility also to pass legislation. And one of the examples that we highlighted, looking back at the old People's Initiative referendum, if this was a situation where the legislature, where both the government and the opposition was in agreement on a particular issue, and you have people within the community seriously divided on, then we'd have find ourselves in a situation where they would have no political representation because the mindset is one place. And they, in essence, would have basically no no other avenue other than a people's initiative referendum. And we said to the governor, why then, with you being tasked with elections and referendums and all that fall under you, why then you have not seen to it that there's a referendum law? This is part of your job too. And this is what we expected you to use Section 80 to say to the Attorney General, go and draft the law, and if these guys don't want to put it in, I'm going to put it in. Same as with the standards in public life. What's the use of giving you this authority to make sure that there's some level of good governance, the tools that you need, and you know how to exercise it? You know what I mean? So
I think it's a good opportunity to read exactly some of the function of the governor, and like my colleague said, highlighting his responsibility and the expectations for him to step in when the good governance model is under threat, like my colleague just highlighted with the Public Accounts Committee restructuring and what the government tried to do. In Section 31 of the Cayman Islands Constitutional Order, 31.3, it says, in an exercise of his or her functions under Section 2, the governor shall endeavor to promote good governance and to act in the best interest of the Cayman Islands so far as in such interests are consistent with the interests of the United Kingdom. And this is why we brought it up to the Minister Law that met yesterday, because we were of the view that him and their administration is of the view that good governance acts like the fact that they try to overload the Public Accounts Committee with members who ultimately are acting as ministers is a very serious thing. So we were basically sharing our concerns that this is the times when we expect the governor to step in and say, hold on for a minute. At the end of the day, I'm still in charge. It's still a British overseas territory, and we don't think that's a good practice, because the role of the Public Accounts Committee is to keep a watchful eye on the spend of the people's money. And that act by the government to try to do that was a very dangerous one. And also, like my colleague said about the lack of a referendum law and the whole verification process, this is when we expect the governor to come out and take his role under the Constitution to say something, because the government is not giving any indication as to implementation of any referendum law. They seem to just not want to say anything about it at all. It's expected of him constitutionally to get up and say something, to say, listen, okay, either indicate to the government to say, listen, can you start to make plans for implementation of it, or I will have to take action and implement something myself in the interest of good governance. So
what's the feedback that you got in relation to those points that you raised? What sort of feedback did you get from both of them?
I get it that they understood where we were coming from based on the notes that they were actually taking. And for right now, the real test would basically be in what happens afterwards. But like I said, we need to recognize that part of the challenge that we have in our system, in the Westminster system, is the winner takes all. Mm-hmm. And it is on that vein why so many countries are corrupt, because at the end of the day, a politician or a group that decided to use their majority to shove things through was seen it in St. Kitts, where the parliament at one point wasn't even meeting. You know what I mean? And I mean, even in our own constitution, the parliament is required to meet on once a year. So you can have a runaway government as it stands. And that's why it is important to have these checks and balances, and so that we don't end up going the same route as we have seen others go. But this is the danger of our system.
Okay, we have several callers lined up. Let's go to the phone line. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you guys, both here and your guest there. Welcome, Cayman. I think you got a very important topic on there this morning.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
And regarding, as you can see, that nobody is respecting us at all. I mean, our values. We also need to talk about that we need to keep the poor. Like the same-sex case is actually before the appeal court with government now. Mm-hmm. We don't need to change. We did our constitution in 2009. We already enshrined how we want a constitution. We shouldn't have to change our constitution to accommodate other behaviors. So we call on the government to stick to their decision. We hope that the public is with us, and we need to stand strong for everything, because this shows how much value they got for us. From one thing to the next to see what they're doing us. So we call on the government. We don't want no civil unions or nothing, because that's not what our constitution says, and we're trying to stick to our values where it says that's doing unions in between a man and a woman. We want to stick to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, caller. Let's take another call. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello, good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Morning.
Good morning, Mr. Saunders, Mr. Bryan.
Good morning.
How are you, gentlemen?
Not too
You're
bad.
fine.
Great. I'm calling to promote. I heard you guys speaking about a couple of things this morning. You spoke about Christian values, and sorry, you're also speaking about democracy. And as you are aware, the Family Values Rally is on Monday from 6 until 8 p.m. And the purpose of that is to uphold democratic process, to uphold our Christian values, and to uphold same-sex marriage. Now, I want to offer to you some feedback also that citizens of this country have been coming to me and saying is that they don't want civil unions, they don't want civil partnerships, and they don't want same-sex marriage. Now, blessed is the country whose God is the Lord. And where God is in power, where he's respected, where he's upheld, the country flourishes. When that changes, the country meets with disaster. The government needs to uphold the word of the Lord. We say we are a nation of Christian values. That is what we are constitutionally as well. What I see happening here is the government is putting this country in a head-on collision with the kingdom of God. I can tell you who will win that battle. Respect the word of the Lord God strong and mighty first and foremost. And to every politician out there who think that they can change their words in such a way that they can pull the wool over the church's eyes, those days are dead and gone. If they're looking political support, they need to stand firm on this. It's going to be my personal advocacy within the church to keep people very much aware. Every word comes out of the mouth of politicians, and to advise them as to where politicians really stand on this issue. England is not forcing same-sex marriage on us. Why would we even entertain civil union or civil partnership if the worst cannot be imposed on us from England? I've heard what Theresa May said. She said she was leaving it for the judiciary to sort it out. She's dependent on judicial tyranny. They're not going to work either. The judge is an appointed official in this country. He is not elected in there to make or amend laws. We elected the two.
But to interpret laws, including our constitution, we must recognize that, caller.
Excuse me.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Interpret.
Yes.
The amending, the creation, amending, and making of laws is for those two guys that are sitting there before you now, not for nobody sitting across the street from them. And my constitution says that. My constitution says for the laws can be interpreted, and when they are incompatible with the constitution, when primary laws are incompatible with the constitution, they go back to the legislature for the legislative to make and amend laws. This foolishness and this shredding of my constitution needs to stop, because they are brilliant, they are wise people in this country. It is not everybody being deceived. You can fool some of the people some of the time. You can't fool all the people all the time. This country is a nation of Christian values, and it will remain a nation of Christian values. We have opened our arms to everybody, even to those who are our own, who have an alternative lifestyle. But that does not mean when we said, hello, I love you, it does not mean that I gave you the right to trample on me, to trample on my Christian values, to trample on my beliefs, to trample on my social fabric, to trample on my cultural rights. It didn't.
But what about those people who don't have that belief? What about them? Don't they have rights too?
Let's go back to the Constitution then. For those people who don't have the belief, it is a nation of Christian values.
Mm-hmm.
You don't.
But it didn't say it's entirely of Christian values.
Excuse me. This is a nation of Christian values. The reason why I don't go to Saudi Arabia is because they have a value system that's different than mine. I don't want to run afoul of their law system. All right? Now, I speaking on behalf of myself and many other people, and I'm speaking to the politicians that is inside that studio this morning.
But caller, what you can't speak of is that you can't just make Christianity dominant and say that is it and nothing else. You have to respect other people's belief.
I think one of the things I just want to add, OC, and this is one of the things that we pushed. I mean, at the end of the day, we are still a nation of laws. We're still a nation of a country of laws. And one of the things that we said was this. We know that we, within the Legislative Assembly, voted unanimously for a process to be followed. Mm-hmm. We are prepared that if the European Court of Human Rights come back and say to us that, guys, this is a human right, we'll accept that issue. The problem that we have is that, one, we already know that the European Court of Human Rights have already declared that this is not a human right issue. Mm-hmm. And two, what we're having a problem with, and this is what we are understanding, or the ramblings that we're hearing, is that the government is looking at this point now to shut down the process. And our take is that let the process go through its finality. If it goes through the court, the finality of the courts, and the courts say this is it, we'll accept it. Mm-hmm. But it has to go through the process, because we already know what the end game is. And what we're seeing now and what we're hearing now is that there's possibly a situation where they may not want it to go any further and leave things as is and shut down the appeals process. And that we made perfectly clear to the governor and Lord Ahmad yesterday, is that will be a serious problem in this country.
But the caller, she is even questioning the ability of the courts to interpret.
I think in this situation, this is part of my public debate, so it's no secret. We held the belief that at the end of the day, and this is just rule of law, I'm not a lawyer, but where there is a general specific, versus a specific issue, the specific always overrides the general. That has always been the case. And Mr. Eden had even pointed to the case in Montserrat also, where they have a similar language, and it went pretty much the other way. So we could not understand, for the love of us, how is it and the Chief Justice in his own ruling in a prior case had raised the same issue, that a general provision cannot override a specific provision, especially where the intent was clear. I think it was one of those planning type cases, whereas in this case he reversed. Mm-hmm. And then when you also look at other issues that even went back to the elections law, with I think the recent change where, why not apply the same principle in terms of, I don't use the word legislating from the bench, but the same process to make sure that we don't have this problem again. So there is a stay there that the Court of Appeals believe that there is a case to be made, and all we're saying is let the process go through this finality. Do not shut it down prior to.
Caller, you still there? Final comments, because we've crossed the commercial breaks. You want to take a commercial break now, or we take a next caller? We're going to take a commercial break. We have a few callers on hold still. Please be patient. As soon as we return from the commercial break, we will take your call.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, formerly known as Professional Pharmacy, would like to thank the Cayman communities for their loyal support these past 18 years. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care. Thorough background checks and follow-up consultations is only the beginning. Your safety is our concern. Our staff are respected healthcare professionals whose job requires careful and precise calculations. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, where we prepare to provide exceptional care. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we care about your health.
2019 marks 100 years of junior achievement worldwide. Junior achievement in Cayman is now 29 years old. To celebrate and support this milestone, help Junior Achievement Cayman to continue our work, guiding next generation Cayman to new horizons in life and business. Get your ticket and enter to win an exclusive trip, Namibia, known as a smile on the face of Africa, offering a unique blend of amazing desert scenes, exquisite wildlife, and fascinating fascinating tribal cultures.
Get an adventure of a lifetime while supporting junior achievement.
Purchase your ticket and stand a chance to win an exclusive all-inclusive 16-day tour to Namibia for 2 persons. Namibia can be reached from the Cayman Islands with Delta Airlines flights via Atlanta and Johannesburg. Experience the astounding and desolate dunescapes of South Namibia, the amazing endangered wildlife of the Etosha National Park. Purchase your ticket today. Junior Achievement, another Rotary Central inspiration project.
They say cleaning your house never killed anyone, but why take chances? Spend your time doing what you love and leave the rest to Roper's Janitorial. Complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential with 24-hour emergency service. Roper's Janitorial, 949-2511. Email janitorial@ropers.ky. Take back your life and get the job done right the first time. Roper's Janitorial, 949-2511.
Wow, it seems I buy a battery every year.
Oh, for real? You should buy your car battery from Vantman. Their batteries are tough. I have a 3-year warranty on mine.
Oh, I know that trick. I take it back and they charge me a percentage of the price.
Hear me out, bro. Not at Vamp Bobo. You can get a 3-year full warranty, no charge. And if they install it at Vamp, it includes free towing and jumping service. And let me tell you, you will never have to get your hands dirty changing no battery.
Get Motorcraft Max or Plus battery for 20% off when it's installed by the service department at Vamp Motors on Walkers Road. Now that's a deal you can get charged up about. Vamp Motors, keeping you on the road.
Extended through June.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, MLA Mr. Kenneth Bryan and Mr. Christopher Saunders. We have 2 callers, so we promised that we would take those calls. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Again, sorry. I look forward to seeing all of you gentlemen at the rally on Monday, 6 until 8 p.m. at the Legislative Assembly building. We will also be having regional and local speakers and entertainment there as well. And it's to uphold Christian values, the democratic process, and to stand for pro-God values and against same-sex marriage. So I look forward to seeing you and everybody else in the country out there on Constitution Day, the 1st of July, from 6 until 8 p.m.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, caller. You want to say something, Mr. Bryan?
No, I'm not going to say anything.
Okay. Let's go to the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. No calls. So,
yeah, I think what's important to recognize in the process, like we said, it has entered into the court system. And we, like we said, the Parliament unanimously voted for the process to go all the way up through the court system, and we expect for it to follow. And we have already indicated that at the end of the day, we're still a nation of laws, and whatever the final court system is, we'll accept that, and we'll ask both sides, regardless of where you stand, to accept it. Mm-hmm. But at this point now, it's within the court system, and we have a constitutional responsibility to recognize where the court stands, and that something is before the courts, and as such, we leave it there.
But there are those who would want the government, if the ruling is not in their favor, let's say if same-sex marriages are allowed, those who are against it are likely to call upon the government to change legislation to either make it compatible with the Constitution or maybe even want to go further and amend the Bill of Rights in such a way, which is going to be difficult because you're going to come up against opposition from the UK in that regard, to amend the Bill of Rights to repair whatever language is there that has caused the ruling to go in that favor. You're gonna get that. And if it's the decision is the other way, you're gonna still get people who are gonna say, we have basic fundamental human rights that need to be adhered to. We need to be treated equally, fairly, if we belong to LGBT community, and pressures are going to become one way or the other.
Yes. I want to say one thing here, and we always speak about the UK Parliament. I want to read the exact name of the UK Parliament so everyone can understand what we're talking about first. The official name is the Honourable the Commons of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland in Parliament Assemble. I'll read that again. Mm-hmm. The Honourable the Commons of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland in Parliament Assemble. Kenneth, I raised this yesterday with the Governor and also with Lord Ahmad. If this was a human rights issue, why isn't it also not recognized in Northern Ireland? And the truth of the fact is, and we have said it, there's a minority Conservative government, and they need the 10 seats of the DUP, which represent the Northern Ireland, in order for them to form a majority. And the DUP and Northern Ireland have made it perfectly clear they're not going that route.
Yes.
So, if it is in essence then a political solution to the system, and it is in essence devolved to a political solution, at the end of the day, we, the people, elect via the legislators the laws in which that they intend to be governed under. And at the end of the day, what people need to also understand is that within democracy, the government gets their legitimacy from the consent of those that they govern. A person can't get up tomorrow and say, I'm going to be premier, and just automatically be premier. In countries that do that, that's a dictatorship. Mm-hmm. And you run military coup. Here we have a democratic process. It elects certain people, and within our parliament, the premier and his team have the majority, and pretty much they will have their numbers to push whatever they want through. We understand that. We get that. This is the nature of the business that we're in. Closer to home, one of the first democracies that we have in terms of proper checks and balances was the U.S. when they started out their constitution back in the 1776 thereabouts. Their guiding post, bearing in mind now at that point, monarchs and kings and queens were still ruling the world. They decided that they want to go down a constitutional route. They had no template in which really to build on and write that constitution. And where they got their guidance from in building that constitution was Isaiah 33:22. For God is the lawgiver, judge, and king, he shall save us. From that, you get the lawgiver, legislative, judge, judicial, and king executive. That's why they ended up with their 3 branches of government. Within our system, we don't have that. And since then, they've gone through and built their constitution and everything else. I say all of that to say this. We are representative of the people. I can tell you that the majority of people within my constituents have made it perfectly clear to me that I've reached out to randomly and otherwise. I can't say I'm speaking to all 1,500 voters. But for the people that I took the time out to and call them up and get as broad a view as I can. Someone said to me, Chris, I really don't care what people do in the privacy of their homes. That has been the general consensus. What they don't want is this issue, you know what I mean, in terms of being pushing through. And for me, what really bothers me is the fact that A, the Constitution is already perfectly clear on this issue. B, 10 years later, we still don't have the standards in public life, but we have all these conflicts in the government board. We have no district council. A lot of people are still suffering from cost of living. And this is an issue that has taken up so much vacuum or so much air out of the room when they're frankly more pressing issues because our Constitution is clear. You know, I mean, this is not something that we should be debating now. The Constitution already clearly said marriage between a man and a woman, and people fought to have that there. No. The process is now, the court has inserted themselves in the process. Rightfully so, they have that constitutional responsibility. I think it's part 6 of the Constitution that deals with judiciary. They have, or part 5, I believe. That and they have now inserted themselves in the process. And as one part of the Constitution, we have the responsibility, and we also have to respect the other branches as well. We'd ask the other branch to respect us. This is now before the courts. We have had our say on it. The public knows where we stand. And all we're saying is, since it has gone through the court, we want it to the finality of going straight to the European Court of Human Rights. And then we can deal with this issue once and for all.
Okay, we're going to have to take a commercial break now. Sorry, Mr. Bryan. Yeah. And then we do have one caller as well. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
2019 marks 100 years of junior achievement worldwide. Junior achievement in Cayman is now 29 years old. To celebrate and support this milestone, help Junior Achievement Cayman to continue our work guiding next generation Cayman to new horizons in life and business. Get your ticket and enter to win an exclusive trip Namibia, known as a smile on the face of Africa, offering a unique blend of amazing desert scenes, exquisite wildlife, and fascinating tribal cultures.
Get an adventure of a lifetime while supporting Junior Achievement.
Purchase your ticket and stand a chance to win an exclusive all-inclusive 16-day tour to Namibia for 2 persons. Namibia can be reached from the Cayman Islands with Delta Airlines flights via Atlanta and Johannesburg. Experience the astounding and desolate dunescapes of South Namibia, the amazing endangered wildlife of the Etosha National Park. Purchase your ticket today. Junior Achievement, another Rotary Central inspiration project.
Sometimes things just don't go as planned. That's why you need Contractors All-Risk Insurance from Fidelity Insurance Brokers. Ensure you're covered in the event of property damage and third-party injury or damage claims during your construction projects. And with Fidelity Insurance Brokers, you can be sure you are getting competitive pricing and superior customer service. Call us today for a free quote. Fidelity, we're good for you.
At Logic, we make things better for our customers. It's why we're offering free Boost Wi-Fi. With Boost, you get improved Wi-Fi connectivity everywhere in your home, so there's no more dead zones. The only people we're not making this better for is parents. Because now with seamless Wi-Fi in every room in your home, go to your room isn't really the punishment it used to be. Sorry about that. Sign up now for any Logic Bundle package and get free Boost Wi-Fi for a limited time. Visit logic.ky for details.
The Talent Exposition of the Arts is now 18 years old. Cayman, get ready! The New South Hub Community Foundation presents the 18th Annual Talent Exposition of the Arts. Sunday, June 30th at the Hawkwill Theatre. Take in awesome performances by Caitlin Tyson, UCCI Performing Arts, Liana Da Costa, Georgetown Primary School Performing Arts, Erica Rocket McBean, along with special appearances by gold medalists Stella Marie Junior Dancers and MCs Andrel Harris and Anika Connolly. Part of the proceeds from the Talent Exposition will go to support the Francis Bodden's Children's Home. Prepaid tickets are available at Funky Tanks and Winner's Circle for $10 or $15 at the gate. The 2019 Talent Exposition of the Arts from 5:30 p.m. Sunday, June 30th at the Hawkwill Theatre. Get your tickets today.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the Record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. We still have one caller on hold, going straight to the phone line. 3 callers now. So within that break, we increased it by 2. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Pretty good.
Good, man.
I sat.
We had a glitch there.
I
Go ahead. We're hearing you now.
Sat through the hearing of the appeal, to determine whether there would be an appeal, and I didn't hear I think she was the Solicitor General,
acting,
or whatever. I didn't hear her making an argument that she should have been making. I heard her basically, it seems like she was repeating herself, but not asserting what Section 5 of the constitutional order says. And I'm not going to get into the intricacies of the argument, but just to say that, because I want to ask you gentlemen a question about your position in the Legislative Assembly, and this is to help you understand what I'm getting at. Section 5 of that order makes it abundant, and I've received a legal opinion on this, so this is not just my view reading the Constitution, okay? Section 5 of the Constitution does not give the court the authority that the court is claiming. And it is clearly in the hands of the Legislative Assembly to legislate on the matter. It's true in the Cayman Islands that the courts cannot just simply strike down legislation. They have to rule that it's incompatible, send it to the Legislative Assembly with an order saying this is an order of incompatibility, and saying to the legislature, here's what we think you should do about this and the reasons why. And then the legislature should do its job in deciding what its political position is going to be on the subject. And this is one particular case in which that's relevant. But I questioned the acting Solicitor General after she left the courtroom. I was curious about why she argued in the way she did, because I'm like, you're not arguing consistent with Section 5 of the Constitution. And she was puzzled about why I would be making such a statement. And so I explained, and she said she would have to think about it. And the reason I'm going into this detail is this. When you, gentlemen, was in a debate in the Legislative Assembly and deciding on what your position was going to be on the paper that was before the legislature, what was it in your minds, or on the paper, not in your minds, but what was on the paper that you were voting on for the government to achieve? Was it just to say that the court couldn't overreach, or was it to say that you wanted the government to fight this and win this every step of the way? Because what I heard the acting Solicitor General arguing wasn't so much that, well, you made the wrong decision, but basically you need to give us more time to amend the legislation. And I'm like, hello, something sounds wrong here. So what was it? What did you guys understand to be the objective if you voted for the measure before the House?
Okay, caller, we'll have them answer that for you, and we will do that as soon as we take the other callers as well. Next caller, good morning, welcome to For the Record. We lost those callers. They hung up.
OC, I think it's important that I try to answer some of these questions, because I definitely don't want to be perceived of a person who's trying not to answer some of those questions. Maybe we may still have a caller.
I heard something.
No? Okay. For the last caller, Mr. Warren, I thank you for calling in. It's always good to have dialogue with you. I think that the debates are still available on YouTube. And I encourage everybody to take an opportunity to go back and listen to, particularly at least for myself, what my position was and what the other members said. But I would like to highlight the fact that the Honourable Premier, the Honourable Roy McTaggart, the Honourable Joey Hugh, and the Honourable Tara Rivers had nothing to say. And their cabinet ministers on a very important topic. This could potentially be an election topic, campaign topic. It's obviously important to a lot of people, and no matter which side you're on. And the fact that they didn't have anything to say about it is disturbing. And I think they're playing politics because they don't want to. This is boiling down to the whole Christian vote against the non-Christian vote thing. And they're playing a neutral game, and while everybody else has to get up and be honorable about what their position is, because it's a risky element. You see the persons out there who are adamant about their position from their faith, which they have every right to, and I support them in respect to standing for what they believe in. But they're circumventing the democratic process of being able to hold them accountable. Myself and my colleagues come to the show because we think it's important to have dialogue with the people of this country. But we also put ourselves up for exposure for criticisms when the government never comes to the radio, never wants to answer these things. So I encourage those who have concerns to also reach out to this administration, particularly those that didn't have anything to say on this topic. That's including the Honourable Premier Alden McLaughlin, Roy McTaggart, Joey Hugh, and Tara Rivers. Even so much so, the Speaker of the House from his chair made sure to find a maneuvering ability to state his opinion even though he's from the chair. That's how important this topic was. Anyway, that being said, I think the caller's opinion was what was my intent in respect to my vote. Now, I want to make this clear. This is my opinion. I'm a member of the opposition, and this is only my opinion. And my opinion was before I even joined the opposition officially. But it's not much different. It is maybe from a technical legal position. One of the concerns that I have is that there's a lot of politics going on behind closed doors and trying to fool the people as to the reality. And the reason why there's a momentum or a feel right now, like the caller just said, that the argument in the courts seem to be one of what are you arguing for? I don't think it's the same thing that we argued for on the floor of the House, is because there seems to be some backdoor dealings. We're trying to undermine this challenge as to what the Chief Justice made. And people are getting the whispers of it, and we're hearing some other things that transpired behind closed doors that is basically making this process of challenging the ruling of the Chief Justice to possibly fail. And then we hear just yesterday, and I'm not sure how far we want to take this, but we were speaking with the governor just yesterday, and other things are happening within our immigration process with persons of same-sex marriage that are creating foundation for legal arguments to allow same-sex marriages in this country without us actually going through this process first. As you heard from my colleague, all we expect is for the law of the day to be upheld and allow the challenge process to take its course. Now, if that course of action fails, then we as legislators are obligated to law, regardless of our personal views. Now, I've stated a lot of my views in respect to this matter. My position was simply we will end up with three options regardless of whether we like it or not. And I know it's uncomfortable for some people, but there's three options before us. Because we're a British overseas territory, we're either going to have to accept same-sex marriages, which I know the people don't want, either some sort of union or partnership, or we're going to have to call for independence because there's no other way around it. Because the UK, though they have said publicly they want to keep neutral on the matter, there is the separate rights that come under these partnerships that they're insisting has to be done. And it's my prediction that we will either have to be in a position of they don't have the legal strength to mandate marriages, because like my colleague just highlighted, yesterday we suggested to the Lord of Med, I said, well, how can you agree or try to support the pressuring of same-sex marriages when Northern Ireland itself, which is a part of the United Kingdom, is not obligated to do it? And they fumbled on the answer. So they accept that, well, boy, they don't have the legal standing. So we believe the success of this court, or at least I believe I believe the success of this challenge will go to the point where same-sex marriages will never stand up. But the other rights that come along with any union, whether it's same-sex marriage or same-sex unions or partnership, has to still be addressed. And I personally believe that we're going to be at that stage where it's we're going to be forced or asked to create some sort of framework that allow the other rights that are associated with a marriage or a union, or decide what we're going to do in respect to our relationship with the UK. That's my personal opinion. Now, the problem I think is happening is that there is backdoor things using the people, like particularly the churches, and letting them believe that the government is actually supporting them when they're behind closed doors trying to undermine this challenge and basically allow the process come to an end where, oh, I'm sorry, we couldn't do anything about it. If you stand against something, fine. I stated what my position is. I think that there is an obligation. There is an obligation under the laws, and like my colleagues have once said, it's regardless of what my opinion is. I'm a creature of law based on my position of being a representative, And I like to be a realist as well as to what is going to come before us. I support the Christian community in respect to what they're doing. They're standing for what they believe in. But it's my job to be as honest with them about what the realities are. And we're going to come to that battle. And the battle is going to face us. I just want us to know what it is. And one of the key things, I want to wrap this up now, OC, is that we need to put this to the people, because we're standing on rocky ground without not sure about what the people will be willing to accept with those three topics I just highlighted: independence, same-sex unions, or same-sex marriages. I think the only one that we can say we're clear on is that the country do not want same-sex marriages.
Okay, good time for us to take a break. Headline news at 9 o'clock. When we return, the conversation with MLA Mr. Kenneth Bryan and MLA Mr. Christopher Saunders as well. I want to remind our callers that we're having some technical difficulties on frequency 89.9 FM. 93.9 FM is operational, so those listeners in the sister islands are able to follow us live there. You can follow us also by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream on YouTube, or you can also download the Radio Cayman app. You can also download the Radio Cayman app and follow us there as well. Hopefully we will have the technical situation resolved soon. We're going to continue talking a little bit. Did the caller hang up at the end of the day? Did the caller hang up? Caller, you still there? We still have a few minutes because we'll soon be going to the news, but I didn't realize you were still there, so I want to give you an opportunity for some closing comments.
I was just being patient with Mr. Bryan as he goes through what the possible outcomes are. All I'm really seeking to understand was, when he was in the Legislative Assembly and casting the vote for the government to take action on this matter, was it in his mind that he wanted the government, or what was on the paper, not, I keep saying in his mind, but forget about what's in his mind. What was his understanding about the paper before the question before the Legislative Assembly, asking the government to do? Was it to go to court and win the case on all of the possible grounds of which we have a lawful position to stand, or was it to just go and say we think the court is overreaching, but not that the court was wrong in its decision? What exactly were you thinking there?
Well, I plainly stated that in my debate, because I'm one of the members who highlighted that.
Just give me one sentence.
No, I don't. I'm not going to give you what.
So what was the motion? What was the motion?
The motion said that the Chief Justice overreached in his responsibilities, and I said that in my debate. I said this motion is not about the fact of whether his conclusion was wrong or not, but he didn't have the right to change the law. Okay. And that's what I voted on. The fact is that he shouldn't have done that. He should have sent it back to us as legislators to make the decision to this failure of incompatibility within the Constitution. And I'm in support of that.
Does that clarify your question, caller?
Yes, it does clarify. So the government really isn't fighting this to try to win the case. It is just about the question of whether the court overreached or not.
Yeah, okay. Caller, we have to leave you at that point because the news is ready now, folks. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
Jamaica's Prime Minister, the Most Honourable Andrew Holness, has arrived in the Cayman Islands to attend a Cayman cultural celebration at Petro St. James this evening, as well as a weekend of celebrations of the 60th anniversary of the first written constitution of the Cayman Islands. He will also attend bilateral talks with Cayman Islands Premier Honourable Alda McLaughlin and United Kingdom Minister of State Lord Ahmad of Wimbledon. In news elsewhere, France has hit its highest ever recorded temperature, 111.7 degrees Fahrenheit, amid a heat wave in Europe which is thought to have claimed lives. The new record was measured in the southern town of Carpentras. Schools have been shut and officials are checking on vulnerable people. France's weather service has issued an unprecedented red alert for 4 areas. Those are all in the south, but most of the country remains on orange alert, the second highest level. Authorities in Iran have seized roughly 1,000 Bitcoin mining machines emissions from 2 former factories, according to state TV reports. The action was taken following a spike in electricity consumption. Demand for power rose by 7% in June, and cryptocurrency mining was thought to be the main cause, an energy ministry spokesman told local state-run media. One researcher said Bitcoin was gaining more and more attention in Iran as a potential means of storing wealth. U.S. President Donald Trump has appeared to make light of Russian election interference during a meeting with the country's leader, Vladimir Putin. A smirking Mr. Trump wagged his finger at the Russian president and said, "Don't meddle in the election, please." The pair were holding talks on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Japan. It was their first meeting since Robert Mueller concluded his investigation into alleged Russian interference in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. Those are your latest updates here on Radio Cayman. I'm Shanda Gallego.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the Record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Just want to remind our listeners, technical difficulties on 89.9, but we're still functioning. For the Record is still on. You can follow us on YouTube. You can download the Radio Cayman app and follow us there as well. And we are also live streaming. We have a phone call. Let's go to the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning. This is, are you hearing me? This is Bishop Sykes.
Yes, we are hearing you, Bishop Sykes. Go right ahead, sir.
I just wanted to point out something that came to my mind from Chris Saunders in respect of the 3 arms of government, particularly in the United States as it was defined there. The judiciary is not supposed to be able to define matters in the way that it has been doing recently, including in the Obergefell case of marriage and so on in the United States. In fact, the founders of the Constitution regarded the judiciary as a sort of weak arm, in a sense, adjudicating, but not getting the march on the other arms by redefining terms. In our case, the real issue is what is marriage, and is there some definition of it that actually goes beyond any question of rights of people to do what they want to do. After all, we cannot give the right to a student to say that 5 + 4 = 11, can we? No matter how much that student would like to do that. So the issue here is the definition of marriage, and this is what the judiciary here, apparently, before the stay was put on, wanted to do, and that is very unfortunate because the judiciary does not have any democratic accountability. That is not the nature of it, and it should not have democratic accountability because it is supposed to have a blindfold on. Right. If you see what I mean.
Right.
And so there are certain things that if the judiciary is functioning properly within a system of governance, it cannot take the lead and say, this is something that you, the people, and you, the legislature, and even the Constitution, said that it wasn't. And particularly in the case of marriage, in our case, the definition of marriage has to do with opposite sexes. It always has done, and it always will do. And this is, in fact, going to lead, as I hope to be pointing out during the rally, to a sort of Brave New World situation or a George Orwell situation of 1984, when people talk about things as if they mean something totally different from what they actually do mean. So I just wanted to make that point. And And I think that the issue is actually a worldwide one, in which the functions of a judiciary are coming under scrutiny, as is referenced by the recent Reith lectures. And the judiciary should not be allowed to forever to go on making judgments that they have no accountability for making. In former times, the judiciary was intended to make the kind of judgments that are acceptable within the community from their own religious and actual understandings of the truth of the matter. Now we don't go on. We're not looking at what is the truth, and this is a real problem. So I just wanted to make those points, and I don't know whether anybody wants to respond, but otherwise I will hang up.
Thank you very much. We'll Reverend Sykes, we'll have them respond. We're going to take another caller, and you can listen in for their response as well. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning again.
Mr. Bryant talked about it, framed it in this context of religion, and I want to frame it in the context of science and law. This is about whether the court must respect the law, and it's about whether what is the argument being claimed by the other side is scientific. If someone wants to say, let's not look at religion, let's look at science, my question would be, what would be the evolutionary process, reason for creating a process that leads nowhere? It doesn't make any logical sense. It boils down to basically those who are arguing this position are doing so because either they choose this lifestyle or they have a genetic mutation which is not quite in line with the norm and therefore have conflict.
But caller, you do have heterosexual relationships that lead to nowhere too. you do have those that
is
lead
true.
to absolutely nowhere. No procreation.
There's a difference between somebody choosing not to procreate and
someone not having the ability to.
Right, but what you have to recognize is that these are genetic deficiencies. Not an alternative lifestyle that should be celebrated and promoted. It's a deficiency.
Okay.
My wife died because of a genetic deficiency. It's not something to celebrate. I mean, I'm not trying to put people down. I'm just trying to say, look, I recognize what it is that you're claiming, but I'm also stating at the same time that is not a gene expression that we should celebrate as the norm. It isn't the norm. Okay? And what I'm trying to say is that the it seems to me, because I wanted Mr. Bryan to say what was said in the Legislative Assembly so that the public can hear it, who may not have gone and taken the time to listen to his video, because clearly the arguments that were being made in the court sounds to be consistent with what Mr. Bryan said the objective of the question before the legislature was. It wasn't to say, government needs to uphold the Constitution. What it seemed to be saying was that the government the courts overreached. And I believe that there's a disconnect there. I have taken and I have forwarded the legal opinion to the acting Solicitor General, so she knows what the argument should be about what the law is, and regardless of what position she thinks the Premier might be taking on this, she has an obligation to uphold the law. And the Constitution is saying something slightly different from what she was arguing in the court, as I understand her. And that needs to really be addressed.
I just want to add that.
Thank you very much, Colin.
I can't comment on what was said in the court because we weren't there. We try to keep that separation of jurisdiction. One of the things I learned early in my career is you don't go into the courts when they're doing ruling. They don't come in when we're doing our debate. So I can't comment on what was said in there.
The question of...
sir, I was going to say something here. And I want...
Reverend Sykes
he
directed his comments.
In my... and there's a Cayman Constitution Order 2009. And I just want to read the opening line of what it says. It starts by saying the Constitution of the Cayman Islands. The people of the Cayman Islands, recalling the events that have shaped their history and made them what they are, and acknowledging their distinct history, culture, and Christian heritage, and its enduring influence and contribution in shaping the spiritual, moral, and social values that have guided their development and brought peace, prosperity, and stability to those islands through the vision, forbearance, and leadership of their people, who are loyal to Her Majesty the Queen, affirm their intention to be, and this is the first one, a God-fearing country based on traditional Christian values, tolerant of other religions and belief. This is the document that governs us. Now, as an agent of democracy, I also have to recognize the separation of church and state. I have my personal faith. I will tell anybody first and foremost, I come from a house of a praying mother. And if there's one thing that she has inculcated in me more than anything, has been 2 Chronicles 7:14, that says, if my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face, turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, forgive their sins, and heal their land. This is the Constitution of the Cayman Islands. It says right there in the opening, it used the word Christian heritage, it works spiritual, and everything. It is there. It is written.
Faith.
Every single person that comes here know what the Constitution was before they arrive. And for those in 2009, before we had this Constitution, the majority of people went out and voted for it. This is a democracy where, yes, the minority shall have their rights, the minority shall have their say, but it is still a country of majority rule. And our democracy says this is what our values are. And I will say this to people. If right now in the U.S. they're talking about pedophilia being a sickness or a disease or something, when you start opening these doors, the abortion issue comes in, the transgender issue comes in, the polygamous issue comes in. We have already said who we are, the type of country we are, where we're coming from, and where we are. And I'll say to many people, if you don't like it, I understand. But it's tough. It is what the majority of the people in this country want. What my personal belief cannot believe for anybody else, the Constitution is clear. And if anyone thinks otherwise, then there's also a section in this Constitution that allows you to start a referendum, to go out, get the signatures, and say this is what we want.
Exactly.
But for right now, this is the law of the land. And the argument that we made is that, and OC, I said earlier, what makes democracy work is that we can only govern at the consent of the governed. I have to go and get my mandate from the people, so is Kenneth and every other member of the Legislative Assembly. We face the public. We represent the public. And in this document is what the public said that they wanted, and is what we agreed to 10 years ago. And the public went back and also ratified it. For someone to sit down and believe that they can sit down in a courtroom or anywhere else and say, guys, this is the decision I'm going to take and basically live with it. It doesn't work like that. The consent comes from us. We make the laws because we represent the people. The court has their role in it. Now, our intention was clear, and the court basically said something else. So, I mean, I'm not going to go back into my debate because there's one of them where it got quite, I I don't want to say animated,
Tense.
but he got quite tense. Because even the Attorney General tried to jump up and call him out and point to order and everything else. And I said what I have to say. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, this is a document that governs us. The people has already decided on it. This is already a decided issue in the Cayman Islands.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And so at this point, what we're saying is that saying to the government, listen, that is our right. The Chief Justice had no right, and spend the people's money to go defend our right and take it all the way that it needs to go.
Amen.
And if at the end of the day, we want it right to the the European Court of Human Rights, who have already said that it is not a human right. So who else is then? The highest court have already dealt with it.
Okay. We have to go to a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly. 89.9 now up and running as well.
They say cleaning your house never killed anyone, but why take chances? Spend your time doing what you love and leave the rest to Roper's Janitorial. Complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential with 24-hour emergency service. Roper's Janitorial, 949-2511. Email janitorial@ropers.ky. Take back your life and get the job done right the first time. Roper's Janitorial, 949-2511.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Did you know Georgetown's revitalization goes hand in hand with a new cruise terminal? The project will create jobs and entrepreneurial opportunities for Caymanians, and Georgetown will once again be a hub for visitors and locals alike, a capital we can all enjoy. Learn more and spread the word.
Support our tourism.
Kick off Constitution Weekend with an exciting international all-star football match that you won't want to miss. Saturday, June 29th at Truman Bodden Sports Complex. Football legends Gianfranco Zola of Italy, Shaka Hislop of Trinidad and Tobago, Ricardo Gardner and Darren Moore of Jamaica, Sean Davis of England, and Pascal Chimbanda of France will join with Jamaica Reggae Boys legends Walter Boyd, Onandi Lowe, and Cayman Islands national team greats Lee Ramone, Gilly Seymour, Antonio Smith, Richard Hugh, and many more. Gates open at 3 p.m. with free admission to the public, and all patrons must be seated no later than 5:30 p.m. when the gates will close. Large bags and glass bottles will not be permitted. This all-star charity football match will feature entertainment at halftime and a donation collection in support of the Hope for Today Foundation. Saturday, June 29th at Truman Bodden Sports Complex. Don't miss as football legends from the UK, the Caribbean, and the Cayman Islands come together to play in this historic match as we celebrate the 60th anniversary of the Cayman Islands Constitution. Admission is free. For more information, visit celebratecayman.ky.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Want to remind all of our listeners now that we are now functioning on 89.9 FM. So you can follow us there if you've been unable to follow us otherwise. We're going to switch gears now, and I want to talk. We're going to talk about the legislative agenda, as well, and motions, private members' motions, and things of that nature. But I'd like to address this press release issued on the 26th of June, 2019, by the Chamber of Commerce, and it is entitled "Chamber of Commerce President Calls for a Review of Term Limit Policy and Cautions Against Developing into a High-Rise Jungle on 7 Mile Beach." Both, of course, concerns. But the one that concerns the human element and the existential threat to Cayman as we know it, and to Caymanians as an ethnic group, this whole issue of term limits, and as a result, making more Caymanian citizens other than by natural means. The Chamber, they have their remit. I'm sure that they have a constitution looking out for their members. Whether or not that includes looking out for the people of the Cayman Islands, or heritage and everything else, is another matter.
Yes.
Does it all boil down to dollars and cents at the end of the day? Is that what life is all about? Or is it also about the quality of life for people in the Cayman Islands, and in particular, first and foremost, Caymanians, gentlemen?
I'll say this much. In every economy, the Chamber of Commerce has a role to play. And I want to establish that. And matter of fact, they have a very important role to play, because at the end of the day, they represent employers, and nothing is more valuable to an employee than an employer. Because if you don't have one of those, you're not working, you're volunteering. With that said, there are some unscrupulous people that are members within that organization that I have very little use for. At the end of the day, you have people in this country that are motivated strictly by greed and nothing else on their own bottom line. And unfortunately for them, those are the kind of people that I was elected to deal with, and I have nothing really good to say, and I like to say what I was going to say when I have my privilege that the people have given me to say what I need to say. But I'm going to tell you right now, I got no use to summing them up inside the organization. They have sat down, they have pushed and cajoled and pushed the government to bring laws that only favors them. And what those laws have done has resulted in the marginalization of Caymanian and the exploitation of foreign nationals in this country. We saw the recent wage survey that came out that the ESO did the other day, where you have people in this country making less than $10,000 a year. Who in this country can really survive on that? Unless you're asking people to either go and prostitute themselves or go commit burglaries when other people are at work. We have done some injustices in this country that need to be dealt with, all catering to businesses. And one of the things that I do have an issue with is these special interest people that finance these politicians, own them, and then basically tell them what to do. And you can clearly see it. So I'm going to tell you right now, this population are reaching 100,000 people with them pushing it the way it is. We already made the first mistake of giving the businesses the opportunity to decide who become Cayman in this country when we add this key employment provision. First of all, the only way you could have gotten to apply for PR and then eventually status, you had to be a key employee, because other than that, you would have been rolled over. The people who would have decided that a person becomes key employee would have been the employers. So in essence, they are the only ones deciding who would stay long enough to apply for PR. At the end of the day, our position has always been, and my strong position has been in terms of where we are right now, either by marriage or by blood. This open immigration policy can't continue. And here's a problem that we're having right now, OC. The real measure for country isn't GDP, but rather GDP per capita, and in particular, real GDP per capita. What you're looking at, if you take a look at the Cayman economy right now, what you find is that the mouths to feed is growing faster than the actual pie itself. You know, and this is why you have so many families struggling and so many Caymanians struggling, because our biggest issue isn't having a low unemployment rate, it's the underemployment. We have people in this country that are getting paid way less than they should. And what has been damaging it is the fact that we have allowed employers to flood the market with cheap labor that have also brought down Caymanian wages in the process. And now you look at some people who have not gotten increases in 10 plus years, but cost of living has been going through the roof. So this all open immigration policy we have, this runaway economy that we have, and this unbridled capitalism that we have, that basically allows people to come inside here and rape and plunder our people, take their money out of their hard-working money out of their pockets, cannot continue. And until this government and many other politicians stop being owned by these people who are driven by greed, and also I'm going to say this to the voters too, they need to understand their responsibility, because every single time they go to a politician and expect the politician to dip into their pockets, which they don't get paid enough to do so. It means the politician has to go sell their soul or a part of their soul to some rich benefactor to give them the money so they can get this some of the gifts that they're getting, and then not expect that the process becomes corrupt. So it has to be a situation where they need to also recognize that They have a role to play to make sure that their politician isn't in a position where he's owned by the people who's messing up their lives. And we have created a circle in this country. And that's why I'm so very grateful to the people of Bordentown West every single day that they have allowed me to get elected in this country and show people that you can get elected by not being owned or sold out to the big businesses and the special interest groups in this country. So it allowed me to be faced there, and I can use my famous line that says, I don't need to do nothing in life except stay fat, black, and die. You know, and this is the kind of issues that we have. So this whole thing about sitting down and trying to grow they're looking consumers. That's what they're looking. You know what I mean? And let me tell you something. I'm old enough. I'm 46 now. I'll be 47 next February. I'm old enough. When I born, the population in this country was 10,000 people. And when it was there, they were saying, boy, if we get 20,000, we'll be fine. We got 20,000, well, if we get 40,000, we're fine. We've gotten 40. Then they wanted 50. Now we're at 65, and they're talking about 100. More people, more problems. We have a population that can fit in some stadiums in the United States, and the problems that we are having, we shouldn't be having. Right now, something as basic as healthcare to take care of our people, we can't have. People living paycheck to paycheck, and poor retirees, I feel sorry for them, because most of them, all their retirement money is going into just pay health insurance premiums. That is wrong. This is not how you build a society. And these are the kind of injustices we need to fix. So those little special interest people who own their politicians, I can tell you one thing, they don't have no members in opposition that they own, and woe be unto them when the day comes, because we have proven that we can get there without you. Woe be unto them when we are in government, then you're going to see a government for the people.
Okay, we have to take a commercial break, and we have one caller on hold as well. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Wow, it seems I buy a battery every year.
Oh, for real? You should buy your car battery from Vantman. Their batteries are tough. I have a 3-year warranty on mine.
Oh, I know that trick. I take it back and they charge me a percentage of the price.
Hear me out, bro. Not at Vamp Bobo. You can get a 3-year full warranty, no charge. And if they install it at Vamp, it includes free towing and jumping service. And let me tell you, you will never have to get your hands dirty changing no battery.
Get Motorcraft Max or Plus battery for 20% off when it's installed by the service department at Vamp Motors on Walkers Road. Now that's a deal you can get charged up about. Vamp Motors, keeping you on the road.
Extended through June.
2019 marks 100 years of junior achievement worldwide. Junior achievement in Cayman is now 29 years old. To celebrate and support this milestone, help Junior Achievement Cayman to continue our work, guiding next generation Cayman to new horizons in life and business. Get your ticket and enter to win an exclusive trip, Namibia, known as a smile on the face of Africa, offering a unique blend of amazing desert scenes, exquisite wildlife, and fascinating tribal cultures.
Get an adventure of a lifetime while supporting Junior Achievement.
Purchase your ticket and stand a chance to win an exclusive all-inclusive 16-day tour to Namibia for 2 persons. Namibia can be reached from the Cayman Islands with Delta Airlines flights via Atlanta and Johannesburg. Experience the astounding and desolate dunescapes of South Namibia, the amazing endangered wildlife of the Etosha National Park. Purchase your ticket today. Junior Achievement, another Rotary Central inspiration project.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
I have various items coming from different suppliers that I need to ship to Cayman. Do you offer consolidation?
Yes. Seaboard Marine offers consolidation for full and less than container loads. We can hold your packages at our Miami warehouse until everything arrives and ship it all in one go. And we have the best rates to Grand Cayman. Visit seaboardmarine.com for more information.
Shipping shore to shore.
Always ensure that food preparation utensils are washed with a strong detergent and rinsed in hot water in the event that they have made contact with flood water. Boil silverware for 10 minutes and immerse glass, porcelain, china, and plastic items in a solution of hot water and 10% chlorine bleach before use. For more post-hurricane food safety tips, visit DEH website at deh.gov.ky.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, MLA's Mr. Kenneth Bryan and Mr. Christopher Saunders. One caller on hold. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello.
Morning. How are you?
Good morning, Mr. Moderator, for fantastic Friday's show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning. And good morning to your two guests. I only heard what Mr. Saunders had to say so far because I've been busy. But Mr. Saunders, I endorse every word that you have said in the last 10 minutes. And I wish other people would listen and understand what you're talking about. However, having said that, after the American convocation after the Revolution, when they were putting together the American Constitution, I think it was Franklin, I think, that was asked, well, what have we ended up with? And he was explaining it to a lady and telling her they've ended up with a Republican form of government and a Democratic. That is, if you can keep it that way. And so many times you will find that things are established with one goal in mind, for instance, what has happened to the PPM, and it drifts from that and becomes something else that was not in the mind of the creators. Now, the Chamber of Commerce was established on the order of Commissioner Cumber, who, when Mr. Harry McCoy returned from a course in Jamaica, was given a list of things to do. And number one on the list was to form a Chamber of Commerce. So the Chamber of Commerce, a lot of people mightn't realize this, and I've said it several times, and I have to remind people, was established by the Cayman Islands government. Mm-hmm. The Cayman, I'm talking on the phone, honey. Sorry, I have a little guest there with me who wants to find
That's all right.
who am I talking
We
to?
understand.
He's halfway convinced that I'm there. They're totally mad anyway. Not far wrong. And the original Chamber of Commerce Council consisted of a member of government. But somewhere along the line, my understanding is that government did not want that person to participate anymore. And somebody decided that government should come off, which of course is what happened when we had Mr. Kirky Nixon, when we were looking at doing the pension law starting from 1986 and going forward to 92 when it started, the Chamber of Commerce pension plan, because they told him he had to come off it. Well, he came off as an official member, but he still sat there to help us to get it done. And it was government that caused that, by the way. And so in the Chamber's Articles and Memorandum of Association, Section 2, it says, blah, 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 about business and all the rest of it that you would expect. And the general welfare, and the general welfare of the people of the Cayman Islands. And that was taken very seriously in the beginning days of the Chamber of Commerce. That wasn't there at the founding. Miss Corrine Thompson, of blessed memory, is the one that got me involved with it. And if the government had remained on there, instead of them forcing the members to come off, things would have been different. And if the people that followed afterwards, and they don't really abide by, as far as I'm concerned, because nowadays I have nothing to do with the Chamber of Commerce, because they would not be doing and saying and advocating some of the things that they advocate for. And they don't have to change the document. All they have to do is start to abide by the Articles and Memorandum of Association that's there. And so I just wanted to bring a little bit of history there. Sometimes too much from Mr. Connor. Love him to death. And thank you for not shutting me up, Mr. Connor. But it's important for us to realize that having it in writing, just like we know with the Constitution, the standard in public life hasn't been brought into effect, and other things that they have not done. We have to find ways that laws and regulations and constitutions become self-executing. And you as a legislator, the two of you gentlemen, need to look at that when you pass a law. Self-executing and self-accountability has to be built into laws. Otherwise, you will find people that will not want to do what they should do. And I remind you about the the Penal Code, Section 100, 119, and 121, which includes the provision, especially 121 in the Penal Code. When there's a law that says somebody should do something and they don't do it, it's a 2-year jail sentence. Read it and you will see.
Thank you very much, Mr. Billy, for that. We have one more caller. We're going to close the phone lines off after this caller to give our two guests here an opportunity to touch on some of the agenda items that they have as well. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning. I'll speak to you and your panel.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning.
I am calling because I have some serious concerns as it relates to this port. I recently read an article, whether the government says or not, I don't know, that they were going to proceed, even in the wake of the fact that we have the referendum, the numbers for the referendum that just has to be verified. They're going to still proceed business as usual. Now, my concern is that if they're proceeding business as usual, then and they tie us into some contract, and the people for referendum, the referendum is heard, and the people of the island say, no, we're not supporting this, then who's going to bear the burden of this bill again? The bill will go back to us again. And I have some concerns that if there's a provision in the Constitution and the government of the day is not adhering to that provision, it makes me wonder what sort of people we have elected there. I mean, that's very, very, very mind-boggling.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Caller,
Yeah.
if I may, are you completed your thought? Because I actually agree with you, and I want to support your argument and reason why. Just stay on the line. Actually, I was myself and my colleague, the deputy opposition leader, went to the conference where that concern came to life when the Minister Moses Colonel was answering a question about the fact that the verification process has started and whether the government what would they be doing now as the fact that the verification process has started. And ultimately, he said, well, it's business as usual. And the attitude in the room was, well, aren't you going to wait for the verification to be done? And he said, well, that's for Cabinet to decide. Now, he did not say that he would go ahead and sign, the government would go ahead and sign anything knowing that the verification is in process. But what he did not say is that the government will not sign anything until the verification process is done. So he's left the door open. And myself and the minister had a discussion afterwards. I said, I think this is why you guys get licks all the time, I said, the people are asking you to basically say, listen, can you allow the democratic process of the people's initiated referendum, which is constitutionally mandated, to take its course before you do anything? And you couldn't even simply give them this reassurance of that. And that's where that concern has now come up. And I think you have a right as a citizen to be worried, because basically what they're saying is if the date for signing of an agreement, because you heard them say they've agreed that in 3 weeks from last week, so it's about 2 weeks away now, that they will be announcing the final bidder. How much longer after that announcement of the final bidder will there be an announcement of signing of contract, and whether the verification will be completed before they get to that stage of signing? And ultimately, that's where the question was trying to get to. But he wouldn't give the confirmation that the government will not act before that is finished. And you have a right to be concerned, because I am too.
Mm-hmm. Carter, go right ahead.
The thing about it is, right, is that, and I'll make it public. I signed the petition. You know why I signed that petition, gentlemen? Let me tell you why I signed that petition. I signed the petition for 2 reasons. The government has been very, very sketchy. They have been avoiding questions as to what potential damages this has for the 7 Mile Beach. That is my major concern. Because lo and behold, if we lose tourism, Cayman, we're done for. Okay? Then I just simply want to know what cost is this going to be to us, to us, the Caymanians, to generations to come. And I believe that it is incumbent on the government to be honest, be straightforward. If you're asking me to buy into a product that you're trying to sell, so tell me what the product is. I mean, the biggest tempt in the world would not agree to that, right? What the government take us for? They take us for a bunch of idiots, you see. But I'm happy to know that we still got 5,000 odd that got one little bit of common sense. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
caller. We're going to take our last commercial break, and phone lines are closed at this point in time as well. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
2019 marks 100 years of junior achievement worldwide. Junior Achievement in Cayman is now 29 years old. To celebrate and support this milestone, help Junior Achievement Cayman to continue our work, guiding next generation Cayman to new horizons in life and business. Get your ticket and enter to win an exclusive trip, Namibia, known as a smile on the face of Africa, offering a unique blend of amazing desert scenes, exquisite wildlife, and fascinating tribal cultures.
Get an adventure of a lifetime while supporting Junior Achievement.
Purchase your ticket and stand a chance to win an exclusive all-inclusive 16-day tour to Namibia for 2 persons. Namibia can be reached from the Cayman Islands with Delta Airlines flights via Atlanta and Johannesburg. Experience the astounding and desolate dunescapes of South Namibia, the amazing endangered wildlife of the Etosha National Park. Purchase your ticket today. Junior Achievement, another Rotary Central inspiration project.
Congratulations, it's a boy.
During the greatest events of your life, whether or not you have the right health insurance coverage should be the last thing on your mind. That's why at Fidelity Health, we are committed to helping you get matched with the right plan to suit you and your family. We offer a range of plans to suit your budget, plus access to a network of quality care throughout the Caribbean and the USA. You can relax and enjoy life's greatest moments when you are covered with Fidelity Health. Call us today at 949-7822 for a free quote.
Radio Cayman 11 a.m. News Headlines is brought to you by Savannah Pharmacy.
Savannah Pharmacy, just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays.
Stay updated with the very latest news from Cayman, the region, and around the world. The 11 o'clock headlines, brought to you by
Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning, and welcome back to For the Record. We're on the final segment of the show this morning with MLA's Mr. Kenneth Bryan and Mr. Christopher Saunders. I'm going to pass the mic back over to them, and all I will do is have my closing comments afterwards.
No, see, that's fine. I mean, well, I didn't get invited to the conference, and I had sent my email I had to send to the chamber. But I'm not surprised because their membership know where I stand, and many of them that are in a position of influence in the chamber know where I stand. They don't like me, and that is fine because I really don't wake up in the morning worrying if they like me. I worry about the people of Bontown West in particular and the people of the Cayman Islands. They already have enough people working for them, representing them. One more politician won't make a difference for them. But one thing I did, so one of the sound bites I saw from the forum was from the Deputy Premier, who unfortunately said something along the lines, we can't run the country by referendum. And I just wanted to put the definition of what a referendum is. And it says, a general vote by the electorate on a single political question which has been referred to them for a direct decision. And other synonyms include plebiscite, popular vote, ballot, and poll. When a politician can get up and say that we can't run the country by a referendum, which is as a vote, how does he think he got elected? He got elected by a general referendum, which we refer to as an election. And this is the issue why I have a fundamental problem with the constitutional advancement, that the constitutional changes that they're proposing. We have now 10 years, and Section 8 of our Constitution deals with institutions supporting democracy. And we have left that to squalor and lost along the wayside. And what people need to understand, and I can say this much, to get into politics, OC, you need an alpha personality. This is not a business for nice people. This is one where you got to sit down, and I can tell, and Kenneth can tell you, when we're behind closed door having our own caucus, it's not pretty. It's not no nice, this, that. Man would tell you what they really need to tell you, and they're not nice it up either. Because at the end of the day, the only people that I am really accountable to is the people of Borden West, and not even to none of my colleagues. Those are the people I represent. So I say all of that to say, it's important that we make sure that there are checks and balances in our system to keep us in check. A day will come when I'm no longer doing this, and I need to make sure that there's something there that's to rein me in. And what scares me, and I tell people, what I saw them try to do with the Public Accounts Committee literally cost me sleep. And this is more the reason why we need to make sure we have strong checks and balance for a lot of these politicians, because every single year the Westminster system has been, after the British and all of them have left, is basically corrupt because of the nature of the winner takes all system. And when you have individuals who's willing to hell with everything else and push through what they want to push through, it is a problem in our democracy. So I don't need to wait for it to happen. I already see it coming. We already seen it coming. And when you have people getting up now willing to dismiss 25% of the electorate that have signed, more people have signed than any other person. Nobody in the House got over 5,000 votes. Matter of fact, nobody in the House got over 1,000 votes. So when over 5,000 people have signed something, you're supposed to take pause. This is ultimately what it is we're working about. And for those who get up with this mentality, I know what's best for you, so let me just leave me to do what I got to do. Look at the fiasco at the airport that just happened. Matter of fact, they can meet me halfway. Finish John Gray. Finish John Gray, meet me halfway. You started in 2007. And I remember the headlines along the line, only God can stop me. Well, God didn't stop you, but you still can't finish the school. Go finish the school. Show me education is a value. You're talking about the port? The airport is also a port. We had people going through. You're talking about, you're worrying about people experience when they come to the Cayman Islands, when people can't even walk to the planes. We saw people running through the rain trying to get onto the plane. That even worse than third world. But again, this is misplaced priorities. And this has always been the problem I've had with this government, is misplaced priorities. And I gotta be honest with you, I can't sit down and hand in heart say that they don't mean the country well, that they don't want good for Cayman. But the truth of the fact is, they're generally clueless. They literally have no sense many times you sit down and try to have a conversation with them. It scares you that they actually don't know what they're doing. And you may think they know what they're doing. I can tell you they don't. They have no plan for nothing. They're just running off of inertia and just hoping. Hoping is not a policy. We need concrete plans. You know, give us a proper national tourism plan and show us what it is you want to do. Going around this little pretty type stuff there, and you're getting benefit because this one going that way and that one going that way, and your competitors are struggling and so forth. You know, we need policies. We need things in black and white. Show what it is you're doing. We have had this open immigration policy. Where have we gotten us?
Okay. We have about 5 minutes left.
Sorry.
Mr. Brian?
It's okay. OC, you asked a very important question about the rollover policy that led into the conference of the Chamber of Commerce, and I want to say a few comments on that. But I want to take this opportunity before we run out of time to help remind people that the community group that is having their gathering at the Legislative Assembly on July the 1st. At 8 p.m. to 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Talking about the Family Empowerment Rally. They will have a number of speakers there, so I encourage all of those persons to attend. The discussion and dialogue that's going to be there is important that we all know, regardless of what side of the fence you are on. So I encourage all of those of you who would like to go. That's this July the 1st at 6 p.m. at the steps of the Legislative Assembly. But also, before I give my comments about the Chamber of Commerce, but to welcome the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Mr. Andrew Holness, which will be in our territory today to be here. So he's a close friend of the Cayman Islands. So I want to welcome to the Cayman Islands, and I hope he enjoys his time while he's here. Getting to this Chamber of Commerce suggestion about the changing of the rollover policy. I think that they have to rethink their position on that. And I'm concerned about the president's position saying that maybe some sort of situation where persons can sign saying that they won't apply for permanent residency or status. And we've had so many conversations publicly over the years. I'm surprised that he is not aware that you can't sign away your rights for him to make such a statement on behalf of the whole chamber. So I think they need to review that. I think that it sounds like they're supporting the growth of the population unregulated or unmonitored by this type of approach, because obviously if we open that up, that opens up the door of persons applying for PR and status. And I want to highlight a comment that Mr. J.C. Calhoun highlighted in the conference when we were talking about this population matter, that we need to fix some of the problems that we have first before we consider growing anymore. They also discussed about the fact that the pressure of the population growing at its own natural rate is putting so much pressure on the housing market and inflation, where the reach for Caymanians to buy a home and apply for a loan for it with the cost of living and the cost of the housing market. Many Caymanians are finding it difficult to buy a home. So to push this event without dealing with wages and the minimum wage, I think is not a wise idea. And there's other people in the business community who feel so. Now, I know my colleague is a lot more stronger alpha person than I am in respect to the chamber. I know that all the businesses are not like some of those special interest
I
ones.
said no. And I did say, I mean, the chamber has a role to play.
Yeah.
A very valuable role in our economy, and they have a lot of good people up inside, a lot of good members. But there are some unscrupulous, self-serving, special interest elements inside there that needs to be exposed and dealt with.
Well, and this is where we get down to the debate, and I agree with you, Chris, that the Chamber of Commerce need to remember they don't voice their opinion for every single business person. Because I don't want those good businesses out there to be affected by their negative behavior, because they're seeming to trying to influence the direction of the people without allowing the people to have their voice. And I say that by saying this. Every time the talk about a labor union comes up, it seems like you're going to be blacklisted and they come for you strategically behind closed doors. Mm-hmm. But the chamber is the voice of the business, and the voice of the business is very important and should have a say in formulating the direction, but not mandating the direction of the country, especially in the absence of the people's voice. And the government is obviously not listening to the people, because they can't even increase the minimum wage from what we recognize and accepted by their own policy of paying $10 an hour. That is too small. So I am reserved in a lot of what the chamber does, because there seems to be some biases majority of the time. But I've had calls from other businesses, and there's businesses out there that support me, and I know that they don't behave in some of the behaviors of what we see represented from the chamber. So I don't want to condemn all of them, but there are, like what my colleague has said, there are some special interests who've bought some of these politicians, and I concur with that. But not all businesses are the same.
You better walk at their receipts.
Not all businesses are the same. I respect the fact that they have a viewpoint, but we have as obligations as representatives of the House to look at all factors, particularly those of the masses, which is the working class. They are having some serious struggles. So we take what they say into consideration, but we also have to factor in the other parts. So with that being said, I thank you so much for allowing me on the show. I want to make sure I leave some time for my colleague to say something, but we appreciate what was said. We will factor it in as an opposition, but we also have to factor in the people who are being affected the most, those ones who are paying the high cost of things in this country, as well as those who are getting paid very small amounts in this country. So we thank you for the show, and we look forward to next week, Friday.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for a very exciting show. And despite the fact that we had some technical difficulties earlier, we still had, our loyal followers listening to us, contributing as well, and we want to thank you, folks. I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, whether it be an office cubicle or if you're working in the outdoors. I also want to remind you that we are brothers and sisters keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dwayne Banks at 12:15 for Talk Today. Monday's a holiday, so there will be no For the Record on Monday. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. Rotary Central, for more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. Fidelity Bank, for all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you. And Roper's Janitorial, complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential. They get the job done right every time.